Yesterday I kind of blew it as far as the video goes. I had a cat who knocked down the camera rig, and I use my cell phone, so it's mounted to a gimbal, and the cat nudged it, and I grabbed the gimbal just before it hit the table, and I thought I had paused the podcast, but I didn't. So when I started the podcast to continue, I paused it and I talked for 6 minutes. And that 6 minutes went off into the ether and shall never be recovered by me. And fortunately for you, you'll never have to sit through it. I was in a bad mood. I'm in a better mood today. I was reading the news this morning and I saw where they're going after the death penalty for Mr. Mangione. Not sure how to say his name. The guy that killed the insurance CEO. I'm against the death penalty. I don't think that as a species, overall, we are secure enough in our ability to get it right every time. So the only option I see is to not have the death penalty. That's the most extreme punishment that we can give. And if we get it wrong, then as a society, we're guilty of killing an innocent person. So I ended up falling on the anti-death penalty side of things. It started off as a religious belief, which I had a discussion with a preacher in Missouri, and he was very upset that I was using religion to be anti-death penalty. We never did end up agreeing. I certainly didn't change my mind. And there was, by midway through the conversation with him, I realized there was no way I was going to change his mind, as is often the case with these extreme beliefs and political situations. And it was an interesting conversation. I learned more about people's outlook and their ability to justify their beliefs than I did about the death penalty. So he used a lot of scripture. In my opinion, he twisted a lot of scripture from the Bible, trying to justify the death penalty. And my death penalty belief from the Bible came from the verse about give unto Caesar what is Caesar and give unto God what is God. Well, I know they were talking about taxes, but I was taught that you can apply almost anything in the Bible to anything, and it will be true and justifiable across all situations. So, as far as I know, the only one that can grant and create life is God. Therefore, giving unto God what is God's is life. I'm not a very complicated individual. I like to keep things straight and simple. Therefore, I'm anti-death penalty. This is where my roots in the anti-death penalty belief comes from. That's where I started the belief. And it went against everything that I was being taught at the time. However, I've maintained it since then And now I've turned more toward the error of humans. And if we can't get it right 100% of the time, we have no business putting our nose into the most extreme ramifications of justice, the most permanent. There's no taking that back. There's no amount of apologizing. There's no amount of money. There's no anything that can make the death penalty that has been dealt out to the wrong person justifiable. And that's where I fall on the death penalty. Believe it or not, I am in a good mood. That just came into my mind when I read that article. I think if the man's guilty, and, you know, I'm not on the jury and I'm not a judge or anything like that, but certainly everything's pointing in that direction. I think that he should be locked up for the rest of his life. That's reversible. That's something that as a society we can say, oh, we screwed up. Let's let that guy out. Let's give him some money, set him up, whatever it takes. If, as a society, we were to kill this guy and be wrong, that's it. We're locked in. There's no going back. I'm pretty staunch on this belief. And it goes against a lot of my conservative friends' beliefs. But I've never heard anybody justify to me. Most of my conservative friends are Christians. I've never heard anybody find a way to justify it biblically. The Old Testament definitely had the death penalty. The New Testament definitely teaches against it. I'd really like to see one of my Christian friends show me that this is justified in the Bible. I don't see it anywhere. On another topic, I woke up cold this morning. We have a new air conditioner, a new HVAC, heat pump. And wow, I have it set at 74 degrees. At 74 degrees, you would think I'd be too hot. I used to be too hot at 74. It may be age. It may be that this thing really puts out when it comes on. Also, I have the Nest thermostats. I have two units, one upstairs, one downstairs. And the heat pump for the upstairs, I had a remote sensor in our master bedroom. And they had to take the thermostat out. I don't understand why. Something to do with multi-stage heating. At any rate, I just have a straightforward thermostat now, and it comes on when it comes on, and man, when it comes on, it's not loud. It's just you can feel the atmosphere change. I've ordered 2 smart thermostats, one for upstairs and one for downstairs, to replace the Nest system. Kind of looking forward to when I have to replace the downstairs system. But wow, it was cold this morning when I woke up at 74 degrees. It was probably a lot colder than 74 in the master bedroom. Or maybe I'm just getting old. Either way, I'm very happy, hey little girl, that we have the new system. It takes a lot off of my mind. The other system was getting loud and it quit cooling, so it was just time. I think that's all I have for today. I hope you all have a great Thursday. I hope that you find peace, love, and dream. Until next time. Ciao.